Welcome to Dolphin Dive Daily, your go-to spot for everything Miami Dolphins. If you bleed aqua and orange, hit that subscribe button and join the pod. The Miami Dolphins have just made a franchise-defining move, one that fans will be talking about for years to come. With their first-round pick in the NFL draft, they selected quarterback J.J. McCarthy out of Michigan, officially closing a book on one chapter and opening the next. This isn't just a roster addition. This is the start of a brand new era in Miami football. A fresh face, a new identity, and maybe, just maybe, the long-awaited answer at quarterback. For a team that has flirted with contention but lacked consistent leadership under center, this pick sends a clear message. The Dolphins are all in on the future, and they believe McCarthy is the guy to take them there. Whether you're a diehard Fins fan or just an NFL junkie, this move shakes up the AFC picture in a big way. Let's break down what this means for McCarthy, for Miami, and for the league. First, let's talk about J.J. McCarthy himself. This kid isn't your average draft prospect. He's a winner. Coming off a national championship at Michigan, McCarthy showed maturity beyond his years, poise under pressure, and a knack for coming through in big moments. While his stats might not pop like some other quarterbacks in this class, what makes him special isn't just found on paper. It's in his command of the huddle, his leadership in crunch time, and his ability to elevate the players around him. He's a natural-born competitor, someone who thrives when the lights are brightest. That mentality is exactly what Miami needs. A spark, a catalyst, a quarterback who can rally the locker room and bring belief back to a franchise that's longed for stability since the Marino days. McCarthy's ceiling is high, and in the right environment, he could blossom into one of the most impactful QBs of this generation. Now, let's put this in context with the Dolphins' recent history. For years, Miami has been searching for the guy at quarterback. From Ryan Tannehill to Tua Tagovailoa, the team has seen flashes of hope followed by stretches of inconsistency. With Tua, there were incredible highs, electrifying throws, strong chemistry with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, but also persistent questions about durability and long-term potential. By drafting McCarthy, the Dolphins aren't just hedging their bets, they're hitting the reset button. They're saying that we've seen what we have and we want something more. That's a bold move. It's a calculated risk, but it's also a statement of ambition. The front office is clearly not content with being good. They want to be great. And to be great in the modern NFL, you need a quarterback who can win in January, outdo Mahomes, Burrow, Allen. McCarthy might not be there yet, but the Dolphins believe he can get there. This decision also reflects a philosophical shift in Miami's approach to team building. Gone are the days of trying to protect and manage a quarterback's limitations. Now, it's about empowerment, about giving a young quarterback the keys and saying, drive. With McCarthy, they're investing in upside, in development, in leadership. They're betting on traits that don't always show up on film, but are felt on the sideline, in the locker room, in the fourth quarter of a playoff game. It's a bold strategy and one that requires patience. McCarthy won't fix everything overnight. He'll need time reps and probably a few tough Sundays. But with Mike McDaniel's innovative offensive mind, a dynamic receiving core, and a defense that's starting to come into its own, he's stepping into one of the better setups for a rookie quarterback in the entire league. That's not just luck, it's smart roster construction. Of course, there are challenges ahead. No rookie quarterback walks into the NFL and dominates from day one. Even the greats, Brady, Manning, Mahomes, had to learn, to adapt, to grow. McCarthy will face exotic blitzes, complex coverage, and the pressure of a fan base desperate for playoff success. Every throw will be analyzed, every mistake magnified. But that's where his mental toughness comes in. One of the most underrated aspects of McCarthy's game is his resilience. At Michigan, he battled critics, shared snaps early on, and always responded with poise. He doesn't get rattled. He learns. That's what you want in a young QB, someone who can take a punch and come back swinging. Miami's coaching staff will need to nurture that, to put him in situations where he can succeed early, build confidence, and grow into the leader they drafted him to be. The tools are there. Now it's about time and trust. The ripple effect of this pick goes beyond just the quarterback room. It impacts every corner of the organization. Wide receivers have to adjust to a new rhythm, timing, and voice in the huddle. The offensive line must rally around protecting a younger, perhaps less instinctive signal caller early on. And most of all, the locker room dynamic shifts. Veterans will be watching closely. How does this kid carry himself? Can he earn respect? Not just with words, but with effort and performance. So far, everything we've seen from McCarthy suggests he's up to the task. He's humble but confident, coachable yet assertive. That balance is hard to find, especially in a 21-year-old. But it could be the key to building a strong team culture around him. If he leads with authenticity and toughness, the locker room will follow. And once you have that buy-in, that's when real change happens. Still with us? Then show some love, hit that like button, and let us know in the comments. What's your take on the Fins this week? From a fan perspective, this is the most exciting draft moment in Miami in a long time. There's nothing quite like the hope a new quarterback brings. Every throw in training camp will be filmed. Every preseason snap will be debated. It's the kind of buzz that brings fans back into the stands, reignites passion, and injects new life into a franchise. McCarthy jerseys are already flying off the shelves. Kids are pretending to be him in the backyard. That's what hope looks like. And while it's easy to get carried away, and yes, there will be bumps in the road, the excitement is justified. This isn't just about one player. It's about the possibility of what he represents. A new beginning, a fresh identity, a quarterback who could finally turn the Dolphins from a good team with potential into a true contender. And in a loaded AFC, that's no small feat. Looking ahead, the Dolphins' schedule won't do McCarthy any favors. He'll be tested early with matchups against playoff-caliber defenses and high-powered offenses that will force him to keep pace. But this also means we'll get a real look at who he is right away. Does he crumble under pressure or rise to the occasion? How does he bounce back after a tough pick or a bad loss? These are the tests that shape a quarterback's trajectory. Not just talent, but temperament. And in that regard, the Dolphins seem to have chosen wisely. They didn't just fall in love with a big arm or flashy highlights. They drafted a mindset, a leader, someone who sees football as more than just a job. It's a mission. And when you pair that with talent and the right infrastructure, you got a formula for something special. It might take time, but the long-term upside here is undeniable. Let's not forget the ripple this creates around the league. Other AFC teams took notice. The Bills, the Chiefs, the Bengals, everyone is paying attention. They know McCarthy's name now, and they'll be game planning for him sooner than later. And in a conference loaded with elite quarterbacks, Miami had to make a move like this to stay in the mix. Standing pat wasn't an option. Not when Mahomes is still in his prime. Not when Lamar Jackson is breaking records. Not when CJ Stroud is emerging. If you want to compete in this conference, you need firepower. You need leadership. You need a quarterback who can go toe-to-toe with the very best. By drafting McCarthy, the Dolphins are signaling that they're not afraid. They're ready to join that conversation. Not just as playoff hopefuls, but as real contenders. This pick isn't about this year. It's about the next 10. And that's how dynasties start. In the end, only time will tell if J.J. McCarthy becomes the star Miami hopes he'll be. But for now, he represents something powerful. Belief. Belief in youth. Belief in leadership. Belief in the process of building something from the ground up. It's a gamble, yes. But all the best stories in sports start with a gamble. Dan Marino, Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes. At one point, they were all just prospects. Draft picks, unknowns. Now, McCarthy joins that line, carrying the weight of expectation and the promise of greatness. For Dolphins fans, it's okay to dream again, to believe that the next chapter might be the one that finally rewrites history. J.J. McCarthy isn't just a quarterback. He's the future of Miami football. And if everything breaks right, this might be the moment we all look back on and say, that's when it all began. That's a wrap for today's dive. If you're loving the content, share it with a fellow Dolphins fan, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a splash. Fins up.